So let's get started. So the way it is, this program is scheduled, or how we have designed this program is like that. We take some topic, we go into depth, and we not only like study the clause, we also understand the um, like a related case study, and we also look at the quiz also. And I also answer your any questions. So that's how this particular program is designed. So today, friends, let's get started, and we will minimum finish clause number 8.5, right? So thought of the day is, right, thought of the week, like yesterday is a history, today is a yesterday is a history, tomorrow is a mystery, and today is a gift, right? So what is more important is to focus on today, focus on now, so that we can make our future better, learn from the past mistakes, right? Okay, so thank you very much, friends. Let's get started. So those who are part of Ultimate membership, जो already Ultimate membership के हिस्सा हैं, they get access to recording, okay, in the Ultimate Marchip section. So let's get started. So we take one topic, we go into depth, and we also understand. And in between, I will also give opportunity where you will be able to ask me question. Okay, so I just need one commitment from you, one small commitment from you, and that's it. Not just commitment from like not just commitment from myself, but also commitment from yourself, that you will give me, yes, 100% undivided attention. Yes, Murthy has already written 100. So this is small commitment. देखो छोटे छोटे commitment आदमी अपने आप को करता है, तो उसका attention भी रहता है and उसका focus भी रहता है. So I will request everyone, like please add 100 in the comment if you promise that you will give me 100%. Thank you very much, Captain Naji, Manwar, Dilip, Murtuja. Thank you. Yes, this is very very important, right? So what we're going to do, yeah, thanks Rohit. So आज मतलब हम session आज हम सिर्फ 8.5 ही cover करेंगे. Okay, so I have some family function, so but I will definitely finish this clause number 8.5. I don't want to cancel that this session, so that reason आज हम सिर्फ 8.5 cover करेंगे. Next then upcoming weeks will be covering the next session. Okay, great. Thank you, Manish. Thank you. Okay, great. So last time we discussed about this beautiful clause like 8.5, which has a lot of requirements regarding the control plan, work instructions, and maintenance. Now, today we'll discuss about clause number 8.5.6, which is management of production tooling. Okay, let's get started and understand what is this tooling management. So, any related, if you look at, if you talk about tooling, right? Tooling is first of all, like those organizations where tooling is applicable, or you have tooling, then this clause will be applicable. In many of some of the organization, it might happen that maybe in 1 out of 10 there might not be any tooling. If you see the toolings related, what toolings related to molding, die casting, right? So these all are like toolings. So let's understand the requirement, because tooling is a very important part. Okay, tooling management. So let us, the organization shall mandatory requirement provide resources for what tool and gauge design. Okay, great. Fabrication and verification activities. So what does it mean? And for bulk metal, if the bulk metal is available, then yes. Bulk metal means that maybe chemical or cement. Generally, for those industries, bulk metal is available. So what you need is the tooling design, okay, tooling fabrication process. Is it necessary to have in-house tooling? Yes or no? क्या ये mandatory है? In-house tooling होनी ही चाहिए, otherwise IATF में NC मिल जाएगी. Is it necessary to have in-house tooling, tool department? Yes or no? Okay, the answer is absolutely no. बिल्कुल सही सही जवाब. ऐसे कोई requirement नहीं है. There is no requirement like that. You might have external like tooling vendors, so it's perfectly okay. Of course, in that case, you need to audit them and they should be competent. मतलब main requirement क्या है? वो competent होने चाहिए. That's the main requirement. It's not necessarily कि आपके in-house होने चाहिए, but it's good if you have. It's totally okay. But if you don't have, then also you need to make sure that supplier selection, evolution, monitoring, and that competency has to be there. The organization shall establish and implement a system for what production tooling management, whether owned by the organization or the customer. Okay, one more thing. There's something called like customer property. Have you heard about this customer property? What is customer property? Customer key property. What is this customer property? So there can be a number of different things which customer might own. For example, toolings, gauges, design, drawings. These all could be customer property. Okay, I want to ask you, in your organization, if there's any customer given tooling, in that case you need to make a list of customer given tooling with identification, maybe with color coding. I've seen many organizations where we make this list and also identify that with the color coding, or like basically identify the customer property. Okay. So in that case, whether it's customer owned, whether it's your own tooling, in that case, what is required? Maintenance and repair facility. So what is required? Do you need to maintain tooling records, tooling breakdown records? Yes, absolutely. Because tooling is very important. Because tooling, if you are not maintaining the maintenance record, if tooling is not, in order, that may result into a rejected product, or that may result into a bad product. Storage and recovery. So like how to store and how to recover, like, which is very important. Setup, like tooling setup, tool change program for perishable. What do you mean by perishable tool? Perishable tool का मतलब क्या होता है? Basically, what is mean by perishable tool? Perishable means, yes, tool life. So basically tool life, like what is a tool life? So basically what you need to do is do tool life monitoring. Why do you need to do tool life monitoring? Why tool life monitoring is required? Tool life monitoring क्यों चाहिए? What do you think? We don't do tool life monitoring because there's something called lead time. What is lead time? How much time it takes to make our tool. So if you don't know the tool life, so let's assume that tool life get over 1 lakh short or 50 lakh, 50,000, 2 lakh short, whatever it is life. Then you also need time, for tool duplication. Listen carefully. If you are not monitoring the tool life, then how do you then plan for the new tooling? Because if you don't know what is the lead time for the new tooling, so in that case, what happened when the tool life is 70% or 80%, 90%, then you have some check. 50% life over होगी. अब इसको do sample inspection or validate tool whether we can extend life or we should take tool duplication. So first thing is to mitigate the risk of that we don't have any additional tool. So first important thing is so that you know that when you need to take the tool duplication plan. So first, this is the advantage. Second, if you also is aware that when the tool will start giving you defects, so that there is some checkpoint. So from that reason, the tool life monitoring is also important. Okay, one question I want to ask you. Most of the companies, like they have integrated, they're using SAP or ERP, and many companies have done this. They have integrated production with tool life. What does it mean? There is no need to do separate updation of tool life monitoring manually. What they have done, as the production get updated, which by the way, most of the companies have this system in ERP or in SAP. As the production get updated, automatically the tool life monitoring get updated. I want to ask you, in your organization, are you monitoring tool lives separately? You can write S if you're doing that, or you have integrated tool life automatically with the production data. You can write I. If it is integrated, you can write I. If you are using it separately, you can write S. Yes, Rajnish, how are you? Great, yes. Okay, separately. Oh, Deepak has integrated. Very good. Deepak Chahal. Integrated. Okay, Dilip, very good. So in some of your organization, tool life is separately monitored. In some of your organization, it is integrated with the production data. That means as the production data gets updated, automatically tool life also get updated. I think it's a good way, right? And the reason is that let's assume that you can put some lock. You can say as the tool life consumption is 70%. Let's think about this. इसको ध्यान सुनो. Let's assume that if the tool life is at one checkpoint, you can have first checkpoint. You can have first checkpoint at the. You can say that first check is at 70%. As the tool life get over like consume, you should have make some sample inspection report, or there should be some checkpoint, and then you can say, okay, whether I need to take tool duplication or either defects are coming or not, and maybe at next time you can do 90%, and then maybe then you can extend tool life based on the actual condition of the tool, or you can maybe discard tool after as it complete the 100% time. You understand? So that's the advantage. Why do you need to monitor tool life? I hope you got understanding what's the importance of monitoring tool life, and then there are more requirement in this particular clause which talks about tool management. Let's also understand that what is that requirement. Tool design, document modification. Okay, listen carefully. And engineering level also. What do you mean by that? Like, okay, if you look at product design, so you are very much aware that product design has the master list of design, revision number, like you have that, right? But in most of the companies, have you seen that tool is not given that respect? Tool की इतनी इज्जत नहीं करते in a way that there are no design, tool design, there are no revision number. Let's assume like this. एक case study समझो, listen carefully. Let's assume that there was some customer complaint, okay, and to resolve that customer complaint, let's say that you introduce some pin in the tooling. आपने कोई pin introduce कर दी, let's assume, okay, but you have not updated the tool design. So what happened? When a new tool was made, or tool duplication and a tool duplication, a new tool was made. That tool was made without that pin, and then you then again got to see or face that same customer complaint. You understand what I'm trying to say? So it means that the tool design, also you need to give respect. You need to have a master list of tooling along with the design, along with the revision number. Like the way you respect final design, in the similar way you need to make give respect to tool design. In how many of your organization do you have, if you are using tool, in how many of your organization do you have something like this, like tool design and revision number, master list of tool with design with revision number? Yes or no? You can write yes, Y in the comment, or no in the comment. If you don't have, if you don't know, you can write DN in the comment. आपकी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में क्या है? क्या टूल डिजाइन सब है, रिवीजन नंबर है, मास्टर लिस्ट है? You can write Y. If it is not there, you can write N. If you are not sure, you are not aware, you can write DN. Okay, Parveen के यहाँ है, very good. Rohit do not have, Ganesh do not have. IATF में चाहिए कैप्टन राजीव. Okay, those do not. No worry. I think that you can go and check tomorrow. आप कल check कर लेना हरिंदर. In IATF it is mandatory. 9001 it is not mandatory. हाँ, IATF में mandatory है. ठीक है मनोज, ठीक है. चलिए आगे बढ़ते हैं. Tool modification, of course I talked about this. Tool identification such as serial number, okay, of course status, repair, ownership and location. This is very interesting. So let's assume that tool कहाँ पर है, like what is the tool status? जैसे for example, you have seen that tool can be in 3 locations. Either it can be in rack, okay, then there should be identification number. Then either it can go to tool room for repair, or it can go to like production, like it has gone to production on the machine, right? So basically, what you can do, there is something called tool tracking board. Or tool. Have you seen some companies are maintaining this? कुछ company maintain कर रही है ना, maintain कर रही है like that. They have this tool tracking board. They have this magnet. Visualize this. There's a list of tool, and then there are 3 columns. कि tool कहाँ पर है? Where's tool at this particular location? Either it can be in rack. Right, okay, rack में है, or it can be in tool room for repair, or it might be in the production. So basically what you need to, is it necessary, tracking board is necessary? No, tracking board as is not necessary, as a necessary नहीं है, but of course there should be some method. Maybe you can maintain this in Excel as well, but if you can do this in visualization way, then that's a better way. अगर visualization कर सकते हैं, that will be a better way. Or some companies, have you seen this? They have this, जैसे सरकारी बाबू के तख्ते लगे होते हैं ना, they have this plate होती है, like this name, you know, that block is there where the name is written. In the government office you might have seen, right? Or you might have seen the pictures and in government offices. So like that there's a block. They say, okay, this phase in rack, then you put this phase, okay, in tool room, then you put that phase, okay, in production, like that. So what is required? Status. So tool status must be known. So I told you the ways regarding that. You can make a list in Excel or tool tracking board, something like that. Okay, that is required. Otherwise you might get an NC, and yes, people do get NC in this particular clause. The organ shall verify customer on tooling, of course, if there is a manufacturing equipment inspection permanently marked at visible location. This is very, very interesting. Have you seen that most of the time the identification of tool, like, is not visible, where it should be visible, permanent, it should be permanently marked, maybe with engraving. That's a good way. अगर आप पेंट से लिखते हो तो may get peel off, and yeah, you may have some location tag. That is okay, Manoj Kumar Srivastava. Or but it should be sometimes people say, okay, you must have seen in audits, like in audits we see, where is the tool number? Tool number कहाँ लिखा है? So it is not visible. It is behind that, below that tool. We have to pick that. Arey, you cannot pick that. It's so heavy. So why you have not written at the visible location? So tool number identification should be permanently marked at a visible location with the ownership. If it is not there, you can give non-conformity in this clause 8516. that tool identification not appropriate or tool permanently marked, tool is not, tool identification not appropriate. Okay, monitors activity any bug. If it is outsourced, then you also need to make sure that these like things are also followed, even if it is outsourced. Like, great. So I hope you got understanding about tooling management. If you have any question regarding tooling management, you can ask in the chat. अगर आपके दिमाग में कोई question है tooling से संबंधित, you can ask in the chat. Yes, what do you need? Master list of tooling, design of tooling, revision number of tooling, repair, yes, tool breakdown record, you need that, all the documentation you need tool status, or it may not be board, but it may be in Excel, but it's a tool tracking system or the actual status. That's all you need. Right, understood? Right, so any non-conformity regarding tooling, the non-NC will be given in 8.5.1.6, or you can say 8516. Okay, great. Let's go to next requirement is production scheduling. So let's understand the next requirement. आइए आगे बढ़ते हैं, अगली requirement समझते हैं. That is production scheduling. So production scheduling, if you look at, is nothing but basically planning. Okay, is it NC of send last day or due date of instrument? हाँ बिल्कुल. I didn't understand, Manish. Is it NC of last day or due date of instrument? नहीं, उस दिन तो चल जाएगा ना जिस दिन लिखी है. तो ड्यू डेट, हाँ मतलब अच्छा क्वेश्चन. आई अंडरस्टैंड what you are trying to say. Let's say 13 is the due date. So of course 1 day before, why you want to take risk? It's until that due date means that today is the last date. So good question, but I think there may be two opinion. I don't think there's any clarity in the standard. But agar let's say 7th of 10th of April is the last date and due date, so that means that due means it should be calculated on that day. So basically, ideally, 1 day before it should be taken out from the system, ideally. But yes, there may be some different opinion, and I don't think there is any clarity or any clear-cut requirement. But to be on safer side, it's always good that 1 day before, ideally 1 day before. But yes, I don't. But most of the companies, like on that day, you may say, you may give justification. Due date means today, until today night. Tomorrow it will be not valid. Like, so to be on safer side, it should be -1, last day -1. But I don't think it will be NC if you do want to do that. But to be on safer side, it's always good. Why you are waiting for that at least 1 week in advance? Because there's a lead time also. Sometimes calibration also may take 2-3 days. Understand? नहीं ठीक है, लॉकर में है तो ठीक है, मतलब थोड़ा, it's not a big point. I don't think anybody will give NC, but to be on safer side, it's always good कि 2-3 दिन पहले ही करवा लो. Why you want to take that risk? है ना, लास्ट डे का भी रिस्क क्यों ले रहे हो? एनसी नहीं मिलेगी, बट एक O5 तो मिल ही जाएगा. ठीक है मनीष? Okay, thanks. Okay, let's talk about this particular requirement, which is your production scheduling. तो आइए इसके बारे में बात करते हैं. Basically what it is trying to say, shall ensure production is scheduled in order, of course you need planning, and just in time. Just in time is more like Kanban system. Whatever is required, that only material is schedule is given to customer or supplier. You say that you meet that demand, right? Basically, you don't want inventory at your location. Maybe supplier के कितनी inventory हो जाए उससे फर्क नहीं पड़ता, but आपके inventory नहीं होनी चाहिए. As an organization, you say in my organization there should not be any inventory, and for that reason, you know what OEM is doing. आप warehouse लगा लो. You put warehouse in my location. In my location, I will not keep any inventory, and they will only be billed when the material will reach at the gate, when the gate entry will happen. So basically what they are doing, they are not like playing this just in time, where they're not taking any inventory, putting any inventory. They are asking as a supplier that they put warehouse and they put inventory and give the material by just in time. That's a good concept, although may not be beneficial for supplier. But yes, overall ecosystem, I think it's good because this will reduce the inventory. And that's we like you need to do this production planning, keeping this in just in time in mind. It does not necessarily mean that sometimes you may be procuring metal from supplier which is located outside your country. In that case, of course, आपको तो पहले मंगाना पड़ेगा. You have to get that material before that. So you have to keep that lead time and everything in place. Okay, document shall include relevant planning. So all this information, customer order, supplier on time delivery, capacity, lead time, inventory, so all that like planning need to be taken. Like even when you're doing planning, so you need to consider like the 5S time, the PM time. जब आप planning कर रहे हो, planning department हो, then they should also consider like these things. Okay, so it's basically you need this production information at different stages, and what you need is basically a planning. Okay, great. So let's go to next requirement, which is identification and traceability. What is this identification and traceability? So it's a 9001 clause. All metal need to be identified, so it's not a big one. So there are different ways to identify. Sometimes the identification can be on the product. Sometimes, most of the time, like it is on the bin. Let's say there's a bin and then there's some pocket. On that you can do identification. And then sometimes there are root codes. Have you heard about this root code? That at different stage of production, what is the status of production? What operation has been done? So basically, you can use both. Like it's not necessary to use. Is it necessary, mandatory to use root code? The answer is no, not mandatory. At different stage of production also you can identify. But अलग-अलग stage पे तो identify कर सकते हो. The idea is like to identify the output. That's the whole idea, and there should be some unique number, some unique identification, so that you know that okay, this is the operation. This operation has been done, or this operation is basically done, and then there should be traceability, like who has done. Okay, that is required. So basically, if you look at in the identification and traceability part, like so, what we need is the product need to be identified. Let's see if there is any separate requirement for IATF. इसको देख लेते हैं एक बार, because I think that's a good requirement. So supplemental means क्या होते हैं? What do you mean by supplemental? Supplemental mean in addition to what has been said in the previous clause. जो पहले कहा गया है उसके addition में, in addition to what has been said in the previous clause. That's the meaning of supplemental, means additional requirement. So what you need is for the purpose of traceability, what you need clear start and stop point, when the production is starting, when it is stopping, when the operation is start, when the stop. So there should not be any mix up, and there may be you should implement this identification and traceability. And what is required that you should conduct analysis for what, like internal customer regulatory requirement. There may be traceability requirement. For example, let's assume that you are making this, what do you say, the frame and chases. Okay, so I want to ask you, like in each country, are there any requirement for chases number system? Yes or no? Do you think there should be some IS standard, there should be some standard for chases numbering system? Yes or no? आपको लगता है chases numbering system कोई legal requirement होगा, regulatory requirement होगा? The answer is absolutely yes. You cannot put any number. There has to be a specific numbering system which you need to follow on the chases, because that is also reflected in the your vehicle number, right? वहाँ पे लिखा आता है, तो definitely. So are there any requirement regarding government legal requirement that need to be considered? Otherwise, you should have that traceability plan. You should have that work instruction which is appropriate for the product. Okay, so that's what you need to do. You need to identify the make a work instruction for traceability. That is very, very important. Okay, and then moving further, let's see. Enable the organization identify, of course, so that you know that basically it is trying to make you understand the advantage of traceability, why you need to do traceability, so that you can meet the customer requirement or legal requirement, so that you can have that. You may keep that record in electronic hard copy. Is it mandatory to keep the hard copy? No, not necessary. For example, I've seen in one battery company, they make this barcode and they put that barcode in the that battery, and then that complete information is available in the electronic, soft, that traceability is there, that any company can identify by looking at it, by scanning that barcode, like even putting the data in the SAP or ERP or whatever like software is there, where they can track everything, like all the documentation is tracked. And most importantly, if there is an identification traceability requirement related to supplier, there may be some product which your supplier might be making. ऐसा कुछ product हो सकता है which your supplier might be making. In that case, make sure that those supplier also understand that what are these traceability requirements, what are these identification requirements. Okay, so when it comes to identification and traceability, जब हम identification traceability की बात करते हैं, so what you need basically is a work instruction for identification and traceability. You need some identification tag, a root code, or the traceability or barcode, whatever is a system. So that has to be clearly defined and people should be aware about that. Okay, लोगों को जानकारी होनी चाहिए. Okay, so let's go to next requirement. Now customer property. Okay, so there is a separate clause for customer property. Okay, I want to ask you, do you have any customer property in your organization? Yes or no? क्या आपके यहाँ कोई customer property है? For example, tooling, machineries, or anything like customer has given. कोई ऐसी चीज का क्या दिया है? Okay, yes, no, yes. क्या है? क्या है रोहित? What is that which they have given? Okay, jigs. Okay. Baki members, if customer has given you any property for like tooling, jigs, fixtures, core box. Okay. Anil, Nikam. अच्छा क्या दिया है? Gauges. Okay, Govind Adre. How are you, man? Good to see you. Okay, drawing. Yeah, drawing is also customer property. Mold, very good, excellent. तो आपको दूसरी की अमानत है, तो you need to rim for diamond mounting. Okay, Mohan. So see, जब आप let's say you take there's some property which you take from your friend on rent basis, or maybe say यार अपनी बाइक दे दे, है ना, give me your bike. Then you need to keep special care, stamping tool, die. Very good. So if it's a customer property, okay, fine, Ramachandran, very good. So if it's a customer property, you need to take special care, like, and it's care like special care. Basically, if it's a customer property, belong to customer or maybe supplier also, any other external providers, and safeguard that. So what is required is you need to safeguard the customer or external property because it's someone else's property. And if it is lost or damaged, then or may become unsuitable, then report to customer and tell the customer that yes, it has been damaged. Because what otherwise what happens that let's say you have not informed to customer, then someday customer will tell, give me my property. You will say, sir, oh, it is lost. Oh, I don't have that. It will be very bad impression, right? So it's always good if you have some customer property, you identify that, take separate extra care as per the agreement, or maybe do maintenance or oiling, whatever it is, and keep a list of that. Okay, and then if the customer wants that back, then give that back in a suitable condition. So property can be anything: material, component, equipment, premises. Like yes, even premises. Sometimes customer gives you premise, and they might take rent, but sometimes customer give you that. Intellectual property or personal data. Okay. So what is required? So extra care need to be ensured for customer property. So you need to make a list of customer property. Okay, that's a requirement. Okay. So any question you have until now, you can ask me in the chat. अभी तक जो हमने पढ़ा, अगर आप हमने कोई सवाल तो पूछ लीजिए. Yes, so we keep a list of customer property, master list of customer property. You can make a something called master list of customer property. Generally, toolings and all that, which I see many companies have. The external provider means go in. Could be anything, can be supplier, can be anything. Like generally in IATF and 9001, when we talk about external provider, it means external provider product, process and services. That means supplier. आप देखो ना 8.4 में तो गोविंद यही है. 8.4 में क्या वर्ड है? एक्सटर्नली प्रोवाइडेड प्रोडक्ट, प्रोसेस एंड सर्विसेज. So that means supplier. Okay, good. Yes. Any other question? Good. चलिए, thank you. So let's start with the preservation. ये किसका clause है? This clause for store. In control and mention of customer provided tool. No, not necessarily मनीष. नहीं, mandatory नहीं है. ऐसा कोई कंट्रोल प्लान में कोई मैंडेटरी नहीं है कि कस्टमर की अलग से आइडेंटिफिकेशन दो. गुड. Thou shall preserve, रख रखाव, for what? Output, during what? Production service. So what is preservation? So ISO 91 preservation could be identification, handling, contamination, can be packing, can be storage, transmission, protection. All these are like rak rakav. So when you talk about preservation, that means rak rakav, and basically a store. It can be incoming store, it can be work in progress store, it can be a finished store, it can be a warehouse. So all these requirements will be applicable. But there are some additional requirements. So let's understand that this is very important. Additional requirements related to IATF. What are those? So preservation shall apply to all, including like internal part received from customer, shipment also, like until delivery. So what do you mean by this? You are responsible until customer acceptance. You understand? आपकी जिम्मेदारी कब तक है? Let's say you are doing shipping product to customer, or you are sending product to customer by maybe trucks. So until the customer delivery, you are responsible. You understand? Even in logistic, if something goes wrong, whose responsibility is this? It's your organization responsibility. Mostly like if it is a customer contracted logistic, then maybe you may involve them. But in general, like if it is your logistic, then of course you are 100% responsible. So basically, until they accept that at their delivery gate, and after that also like you are responsible for that rakrakav or the storage or any defects during that preservation, during that transmission, during that transportation. Okay, in order direct deterioration, the shall assess at appropriate plan interval the condition of the product. Okay, what do you mean by this? That you need to have some, let me show you one example. At appropriate interval, you should do some stock condition verification. Let me show you one example. So those who are part of alternate membership, they already have the access of these formats. Like you can see, let me share my screen with you. आपसे मैं अपनी screen share कर रहा हूँ. Here we go, like, and okay. So let's see one example. So what is the stock condition verification? So stock condition verification at whatever interval, like a week or month. Generally, month is good. So what you can identify, basically, what you can do, you can then list down. Okay, you are able to see this Excel Google sheet. आपको Google sheet दिखाई दे रही है? Okay. So if you look at the stock condition verification, so what you can define, maybe you can define some frequency by 5th or 10th or of every month. You can define the detail, like I've written this incoming store finished good, but what is expected, you write the detail, you write the rack number. That will be much better approach. And then you can write when it is verified, what was the condition, and what to check. Check क्या करना है? So basically you can identify that what is that you are going to check. Maybe you are going to rust, storage condition, no damage, proper packing, no leakage, or you can add more points. So basically, what is the purpose of this? As you can see, IATF is asking you to identify the stock condition, because if you don't identify stock condition, maybe some material may get damaged, or maybe shelf life, although there's a separate requirement for shelf life, but stock condition need to be verified at regular intervals. So this is one format which I've used in multiple organizations and many companies like this. So I hope you got understanding how to do stock condition verification. At what interval? You define that interval. Like it may be month or 6 months, but generally I've seen people do minimum on monthly basis. Okay. Then there's something called FIFO. What is FIFO? FIFO क्या होता है? FIFO, first in, first out. Like, so maybe there may be some racks. People use some, there are some companies who are using this gravity, like rack like this, put in and out like that. It's become easy. Some companies are using this rack system. Use me first, right? So I want to ask you, like, what is the system in your organization? Are you using some tag? You can add T in the comment, or you are using gravity for maximum of your product, like gravity, in out like that, some slider kind of thing where, or you are using some other method. Use me first, some tagging system or marking system. What is that method you are using for FIFO? Mostly, not 100%, but is it gravity, like racks? You can write R in the comment if you're using some racks like this, FIFO racks, or you're using some marking. You can write M in the comment. What is the majorly what we are using? Acha, color code. Very good. Okay, Manish. Okay. Okay, using racks. That's good. Racks are good. Color code. ठीक है. अच्छा, color code. मतलब for month. Okay. Jan, Feb, March. Okay. Yeah, I understand. सेल नंबर. हाँ, सेल नंबर डिफिकल्ट मनीष, थोड़ा डिफिकल्ट हो जाएगा ना सेल नंबर से. एफजी में सेल नंबर देखना. मे बी पीपल यूज मी फर्स्ट, और मे बी कीप दैट स्टोरी इन सच ए वे इन एंड आउट कि पहले यहाँ से यहाँ इन है यहाँ आउट, लाइक दैट पीपल आर डूइंग दैट. ओके, नो इशू. लाइक you can identify what's the best method, but yes, wherever possible, if they are small pots, so gravity is always good, racks are always good. रैक हमेशा अच्छे होते हैं. So when it talks about preservation, then of course this shelf life item need to be monitored. Like वो भी monitor करना है आपको, preservation रख रखाव आपको ensure करना है. But shelf life item किसे कहते हैं? Like which has life, for example, chemical or Loctite or as some product like that, which is shelf. So maybe monitor that shelf life monitoring need to be required at multiple at regular interval. You may monitor that what is the if shelf life, as per that if the life get over or not. Okay. So that's what you can identify. Okay, so great. So let's go to the next requirement. And now, if you see in this store, there are a lot of requirements like stock condition verification, FIFO, shelf life monitoring, identification of the product. So all these need to be checked and audited in the store. ये सब चीजें कहाँ audit करनी है, कहाँ check करनी है, store में check करनी है. Okay. Yes, of course, Govind, you're right. What is the difference between shelf life and expiry date? See, good question. So expiry date, basically shelf life means that for how long the product will be active, for how long the product will be in okay condition. So expiry date is the end date of the product. So basically when we talk, people use this interchangeably, इनको अलग अलग use करते हैं, but shelf life is the duration, expiry date is the cut off date. So एक ही context में use होती है. So shelf life is the duration till when the product will be okay. This characteristic will be intact, and expiry date is the cut off date. By after that you can't use that. Okay. So both are used in same context. ठीक है रोहित, दोनों चाहिए. शेल्फ लाइफ होगी तो कोई कट ऑफ डेट तो होगी. Okay, great. So now what you need to do, like, see, it's very systematic. Now you need to deliver the product, send the product to customer. Delivery करनी पड़ेगी ना customer को. So post delivery activity. So that also you are responsible for post delivery activity. Any legal requirement. Let's say you have sent some product to export, and the export, this hexagonal plating not allowed, or maybe some fumigation you haven't done this fumigation, or you have used some lead mercury banned substance. In that case, you are responsible even after delivery if you have not followed that legal requirement, or any consequences, or maybe customer requirement, customer feedback. So when you say post delivery activity, that means warranty and all that, maybe contractual agreement, or you may have to do some repair. Like one company, they were making some engine cover and some part, but now there are post delivery issues. So those companies are at the dealer's side, they are using that maintenance, or they are using this changing that, or sometime maybe recycling. For example, let's say you are making battery. In battery, there's a battery management rule, or under that you need to buy back the product. आप बैटरी बना रहे हो तो आपको बाय बैक करनी पड़ेगी, तो of course through the medium like your center, collection center. So is there any requirement like that? So basically when you say post delivery, that means all these requirements. जब हम post delivery की बात करते हैं तो it may means warranty, or any special agreement, service agreement, or it may means the recycling. So if there's anything like that, any agreement like that with customer, क्या आपके कोई ऐसे agreement है, so that will come under this post delivery activity. Okay. Feedback of information from service. So it is only applicable for those companies who are giving service. For example, let's say one company, they are not just making, one company was making CNG kit, but they were not making the CNG kit, they were also doing installation. Let's say some company is making engine, but they are not just making engine parts, but they are also doing installation at the customer end. Some company is making lights, automotive lights, backlight or headlight, but they are not only making that, but they are also doing installation. So that will be called service. Mostly I haven't seen companies doing that. So in that case, this won't be applicable. अगर आप service के लिए responsible नहीं हो, so this requirement won't be applicable. Okay, if there is any service regarding concern, so of course you need to have that service agreement in place. तो वो चीजें होनी चाहिए. If it is not applicable, then you can leave it. It's not applicable. अगर कुछ ऐसी सर्विस रिलेटेड रिक्वायरमेंट है तो ही ये आपके लिए एप्लीकेबल होगी. ठीक है, चलिए. So now, like because we have finished this requirement of now we'll come to very good requirement. Okay, service agreement. Okay, one more requirement, simple. If you have any service agreement with customer, if you're giving service, अगर आप कोई service दे रहे हो, so in that case you also need to have some service agreement. For example, maybe at supply customer end or at a dealer end, you will do some fitment. Is there anything like that? In that case, you need to have those agreement. Otherwise, this clause won't be applicable. अगर ऐसा कुछ है, तो make sure that you have those agreement in place. If it is not there, you can leave it, right? Okay, great. So before coming to this last clause, which is control change management, which is very interesting. If you have any question, you can ask me. हाँ, ये last है आज का, मतलब आज का last है. Control of changes, change management and forum change, and we'll talk about this temporary change. Okay. Mahesh, shelf-life expired product can be recalibrated and used in case of course, like it depends if there are any test available, then yes. अगर कोई test available है and those are agreed with customer, then use कर सकते हैं. Otherwise, like take customer approval and make sure that customer is in agreement with whatever you are doing. तो ये ensure कर लो कि जो भी हो रहा है वो customer agreement में होना चाहिए. ऐसे नहीं अपनी मर्जी से नहीं होना चाहिए. You understand? ठीक है. Okay, let's come to the last requirement, which is change management, control of changes. So you know very well that what will happen whenever you are doing any changes. Basically, those change should be authorized. There are multiple type of changes. For example, let's say forum change, which is very popular, man machine metal method. So my question to you, why do you, is it, although they have not used this word forum word use नहीं किया है, but more or less you need this change management. Okay, one question, what's the advantage of forum change management? क्या फायदा change management करने का? Number one, listen carefully. When you do change management, there is a verification. Like there is some sort of like checkpoint. It's act as a checkpoint, and there is some sort of verification. You are doing some changes, you know, a manpower or a new method or new process or a new material. There is some checkpoint. Number one, very important. That's the advantage of change management. Number two, दूसरा सबसे बड़ा advantage, because you know many times customer also ask you, give me that record of forum change, मुझे forum change दो. Have you seen many customer demand that? Maruti and many other customer says that give me forum change record on monthly basis. Why they want it? Because they want to establish this like in the defect in the analysis, like in the complaint analysis, it also acts as a in during your complaint analysis as a traceability. Like it also act, okay, so customer may may look at, okay, the complaint has started coming from this day, and okay, in that day or from around that or 2 days back, 3 days back, like they can see what was changed. Oh, new metal was used because of that. So it can also act as a cutoff date or some kind of cutoff or traceability date. Okay, then that's what you say. We say, okay, the material which the company got after this cutoff date, that is it. So it basically helps. Forum change helps in two ways. Number one, whenever change is happening, there's a verification, there's a cross verification, so that change does not negatively impact your production or your quality. Second advantage is it also helps you in analysis and establishing traceability and establishing that cutoff. So that's the advantage. Okay, I hope you got understand. Murtaja, what type of service company last class? I told you, Murtaja, services could be anything like installation, repairing service, all these will come under service. If you don't have any agreement with customer like this, you can ignore that. So yes, agreement है तो ठीक है, otherwise you can ignore that. ठीक है, Murtaja. Okay, so great. So now there are more requirements. So let's also understand those requirements. आइए वो requirement understand कर लेते हैं. So what you need in change management supplemental. Organization shall have documented process. What is needed is change management process, our documented process. So very important. You need SOP. SOP for what change has been carried out, like how you do design verification, how do you validate, how you will validate, how what exactly you will do in validation or in the verification, what evidence is required. So basically what is required that if you're doing any engineering change or process change, in that case all that evidence of the records will be required. Okay, so basically what is important, let me show you that quickly. When it comes to change management, so there is one example, let me show you that. Okay, so this is a like example which Maruti is using extensively, and if you look at this is a forum change record, you can keep it like shop floor wise, or maybe you can keep it for complete plant. Best is people do this people maintain this like in a shop floor wise. Reason for change, what was the change? Reason is it critical functional change, date implementation, and when the in what kind of changes like customer approval is required, in what changes customer approval is not required. So basically it also defined. I'm not going to read this like fully, but you got an understanding. So basically the advantage of forum change is it necessary forum change, or if in IATF are they using this word forum change? No, they are not using this word forum change, but more or less like you have to do because they are talking about the change management, so करना ही पड़ेगा, although वो directly उस forum word का इस्तेमाल नहीं कर रहे हैं, right? So very interesting, like change management. So let's go to okay, there are more requirements. Let's also understand that यहाँ पे कुछ और भी छोटी सी requirement है, देख लेते हैं उसको भी. So changes, if you are doing any, like those need to be validated, number one. And if you are doing any changes, so make sure that any deviation or make sure customer approval is there, right? You are changing some product design. Of course, in that case, you need agreement with customer. Maybe process design, sometime it's not all the time it is required to communicate to customer, but product design में तो आपको करना ही पड़ेगा. Okay, last requirement. इसके बाद I will take question. What is temporary change? Understand this carefully. Temporary change क्या होता है? Temporary change means this requirement came from GM. Let's assume, मैं आपसे एक क्वेश्चन पूछता हूँ. Let's assume that in a company we are using robotic welding. They are using robotic welding, but that day robotic welding was not good and was not well, and they had to give production. They use can they use manual welding? What do you think, production people? But for production, we'll use that. Okay. So if they say you can use temporary change, you can use alternate process. That is okay. आप alternate process use कर सकते हो. But in that case, what is the work instruction for? What is the instruction for manual welding? What is the control plan for manual welding? So all that need to be addressed. So it's a very good requirement. So you can keep that temporary change last list of process control, although not necessarily. ये mandatory नहीं है. ये रखना नहीं करना है. Wherever applicable, जहाँ applicable है वहाँ रख लीजिए. Like they have written, if backup or alternate method exists. So ये mandatory नहीं है. It is for a complete process. So one question you might ask you, एक question आप पूछ सकते हैं, what is the difference between contingency and temporary change or alternate method? इसमें क्या difference है? Temporary change और alternate में क्या difference है? So if you look at, अगर आप यहाँ पे देखो, this contingency is for, there are many requirements in contingency for generally for skills, labor shortage, key equipment failure, cyber attack. Contingency is for specific area. Contingency specific चीजों के लिए दी गई है. But if you talk about alternate process control, it is focused on the process. Control plan में जो control plan का जो process है उसके अलावा कुछ कर रहे हो in the process itself, in the production process. So the focus of this is on the process itself. So what do you need? Let me show you an example. मैं आपको example दिखाता हूँ. I think then you will get quick understanding. यहाँ पे देखिएगा. आज का last example है. Okay. So here you can see list of alternate process control. यहाँ पे देखिएगा ध्यान से. And then you have this control plan. Then you have manual, regular welding is robotic welding. Alternate is manual welding. Can you do that? Yes, you can do that. But you need to keep the record of the alternate, like what is the control plan, what is the work instruction. So you need to maintain that. In the one company, like, can you say I don't have any alternate process? Yes. But when one company, I'll tell you what happened. ये company में क्या हुआ? Like that company has written, we don't have any alternate process control. They have written this. उन्होंने लिख दिया कि हमारा कोई भी alternate process control नहीं है. It's okay. The auditor went to shop floor. देखना सुनना यहाँ पे बड़ा interesting है. The auditor went to shop floor, and there was some person doing mixing by hand. कुछ chemical या कुछ paint mix कर रहा था. The auditor said, what happened? Why you are mixing by hand? He said, sir, my machine is under breakdown. For that reason, I am mixing by hand. Okay, very good. How much time it takes to mix by machine? Sir, it takes 2 minutes. Very good. But how much time it takes by hand? Sir, 15 minutes to 20 minutes. Okay, 15 से 20 मिनट लगते हैं हाथ से घुमा के वो. And then how do you check? Sir, I put that, there is a desi method. I put that flow on the paper or some sheet, and then I see flow rate by visually, then I know, yes, it is mixed. Okay, very good. The auditor noted that point and came back to the office and then said to the engineers or people, MR and all these people, you say you don't have any alternate process control, but in the shop floor, people are using alternate process method. So you understand? समझ में आया आपको? If you say I don't have any alternate process control, you can say, कह सकते हैं. But in that case, actual में भी, in actual there should not be any alternate process control. You understand? So that's a requirement. But the good thing is that ऐसा नहीं है that you are working on the alternate process control, you lifetime you work on alternate process. No, as soon as early as possible, you should come back to the regular process, okay, and do layered process audit daily meeting. So what they are trying to tell, alternate process is not good, but sometimes you have to do, come back as early as possible to the original process and keep a work instruction and control plan for the alternate process and take the approval from the customer. Sometimes you have to take prior approval. And whatever the product is made, listen, whatever the product is made under alternate process control, that has to be identified. Repeat कर रहा हूँ, whatever product has been made under alternate process control need to be identified. जो product बना है alternate process control में, कल को वापस आ गया, tomorrow you get that metal back from the customer. So you should be aware, oh, we have used alternate process control. For that reason, the metal got rejected. Okay. So when you are coming back to original process, you should start everything and do that verification activity. Okay, so now we have come to end of the session. So I hope you got understanding what need to be done. So you need this alternate procedure control, list of alternate procedure control. I have shown you that. Is it mandatory to have? No, it is not mandatory. Okay, चलिए. Now if you have any question, please let me know quickly. I'll be happy to answer that. आपके मन में कोई सवाल है तो पूछ लीजिए. Okay, I have some. Okay, कोई दिक्कत. So I'll take some Q&A, but maybe later stage because that is combined with some other clauses. So next time I'll take some challenge Q&A also. But अभी कोई सवाल तो पूछ लीजिए. Contingency is different, Rohit. Contingency अलग चीज है. Contingency we have read in 6123. Contingency is alternate, but contingency is for many things. Contingency could be for equipments, key equipment failure, cyber attack, labor shortage, utility. Contingency कई चीजों के लिए हो सकते हैं. It can be multiple things, but alternate process control is only for the process which is given in the control plan. Yes, Handa, you are right. Contingency अलग हुआ है. Contingency alternate process is a contingency only. Alternate process control is a type of contingency, but only for process control plan में जो process है उसके लिए. Understood, Rohit? समझ में आया? Good. हाँ. ESN and change management different. Very good question, Manish. ESN is under change management. ESN जो है वो change management ही है. But in the engineering change, you focus on product characteristic. In the PCN, there is something called PCN also, process change note. In the PCN, you focus on process parameter. And engineering change, you focus on engineering parameter. That means product design. And change management is a big chapter which includes ECN. And change management could be forum. So change management is a bada umbrella. ECN is a part of change management. Understood, Manish? Good question. हाँ. ठीक है. Very good. ठीक है. इस हाँ बिल्कुल. चलो एक काम करते हैं. क्विज 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 कर लेते हैं. क्विज आज के लास्ट क्विज कर लेते हैं. उसके बाद देन विल टेक ब्रेक. Are you ready, guys, for the quiz? 1 minute crorepati KBC. So the question will come in front of you. You need to write answer. Ready? तैयार हैं? चलिए, let's get ready. आप चैट में टाइप करना. The organization shall define and implement the necessary action to ensure product compliance with after what? Yes, go ahead. जल्दी लिखिए. Okay, Murtaza A, very good. B, A, जल्दी जल्दी जल्दी. A, Dilip A, time up. Durraj, good, excellent, yes, good. हरिंदर B नहीं है, A है, very good. Planned and unplanned shutdown. So answer is good, Satya. Very good. Next. Which is not a part of preservation. इसमें से कौन सा preservation का part नहीं है? Which is not a part of store preservation. Very good. Murtaza, Rajneesh, क्या बात है? From Murtaza Ahmed, you are very fast. Raj, very good. The right answer is Dilip. Good. Tool design is not a part of preservation. Of course, it's a separate chapter. 85. Yeah, Captain Najib. Yeah, very good. 8516 में tool design आएगा. Next. What does MTBF stands for? Yes. Go ahead. Dilip, Satya, Sunny Kumar, Rahul. Good. Raj, Jinder. Yes. Mean time between failure. What a failure? Like between, we want to increase that. Like breakdown should not happen at greater interval. Next. Total productive shall include what? TPM shall include what? Good. The right answer is all of the above. All of the above. Very good. Excellent. Good. Next question. Which is not the correct statement. इनमें से कौन सी सही statement नहीं है? Which is not a correct सही statement नहीं. It's not necessarily correct. इसमें कौन सा सही नहीं लग रहा? Murtaza, very good. Again, very fast. Satya, very fast. Raj, good. Okay. The right answer is Harinder. Good. The right answer always approved by customer. नहीं ऐसी कोई requirement. Work instruction की requirement थोड़ी है. Manoj, good. Yes, Captain Najib. Excellent. Great. So nice, friends. So we have come to end of the session. So thank you very much for attending. So next week we'll be covering, try to cover 8.6 and 8.7 next Sunday. So thank you very much. Those who are part of Alternate membership, in the weekly archives, we will update this. If you have any question, you can reach out to us, support@SubMastery. We'll be happy to answer any question, right? So thank you very much, friends, and all the best. Thank you. We'll see you next week. Good night. Take care. Thanks, Adler. Thanks, Nasimha. Good night. Thank you, everyone. Anil, Anuj, Captain Najib, Dilip, Raj, Harinder. Thank you, Hugo. Thanks a lot, man. Thanks, Anuj. Thanks, Jagdish. Thank you, Mohan. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Murtaza. Thanks, Satya. Bye. Good night. Take care. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Rahul. Good night. अगले हफ्ते मिलेंगे हाँ संडे को सेम टाइम थैंक्स मैडम बाय थैंक्स रजनीश बाय गुड नाइट